After 21 years of marriage, I discovered how to keep the flame of love and intimacy alive in my relationship with my wife. I recently started seeing another woman. In reality, the idea was not mine. "You know you like her," she told me one day, taking me by surprise. "Life is too short. We need to be with the people we love." "But I love you," I protested. "I know. But you love her too." "Maybe you don't believe me, but I think that if you spend more time together, the two of us will feel closer together." As usual, Peggy was right. The other woman mine encouraged me to date was my mother. My mother is a 71-year-old widow who has lived alone since my father died 19 years ago. Shortly after his death, I moved to California, where I started my career and raised a family. When, 5 years ago, I returned close to my homeland, I promised myself that I would spend more time with it. But work and my 3 children never left me time to see her, except at family gatherings and during the holidays. She was surprised and intrigued when I called her and suggested that we go out to dinner and a movie. "What is up? Are you going away with the kids again?" she asked me. My mother is the kind of woman who thinks anything out of the ordinary, a middle-of-the-night phone call or her son's invitation to dinner, is bad news. "I thought it would be nice to spend some time together," I said, "just the two of us." He thought for a few minutes. "I liked it," she said. "I really liked it." I found myself nervous as I drove to her house the Friday after I got off work. I was feeling that nervous feeling you get before a date, and I was just going out with my mom. What would we talk about? What if she didn't like the restaurant I'd chosen? Or from the movie? What if she didn't like anything? When I parked the car, I noticed how nervous she was about the date, too. He was waiting for me at the door, with his coat on. She had fixed her hair. He used to smile. I told my friends that I was going out with my son, and they were amazed, she told me as she got into the car. "You can't wait for tomorrow to find out how the night went." We didn't go anywhere fancy, just a little restaurant nearby where we could talk freely. When we arrived, my mother took my arm, half out of affection, half so she could go up the stairs to the dining room. When we sat down, I had to read the menu out loud. She can only see large letters. Halfway through the list of entries, I looked at my mother. She was sitting across from me looking at me. He had a wistful smile on his lips. "I used to read the menu when you were little," she said. I understood immediately what she meant. After she had taken care of me, I was now the one taking care of her. Our relationship had come full circle. "Then it's time for Mother to rest and let me return that love to her," I said. We had a pleasant conversation over dinner. No deep conversations, we just caught up with each other's lives. We talked so much that we missed the movie session. "I'll only go out with you again if you let me pay for the next dinner," my mother said as she got out of the car. I agreed. "How did the meeting go?" asked my wife when I got home. "Well, better than I thought," I replied. She smiled that "I told you so" smile. Since that night, I have been going out regularly with my mother. We don't go out every week, but we try to meet at least twice a month. We always go to dinner, and sometimes we also go to the movies. Most of the time, though, we just talk. I tell him my work problems. I praise my children and my wife. She keeps me up to date on the family's adventures, which I never managed to keep abreast of. And he also tells me things about his past. Now I know what it was like for my mother to work in a factory during World War II. I know how she met my father and how they dated on the tram during those difficult times. As I listened to these stories, I realized how important they are to me. They are my past. I never get tired of listening to them. But we don't just talk about the past. We also talk about the future. Because of her health problems, my mother worries about the days to come. I still have so much to do in this life, she told me one night. I need to be there as my grandchildren grow up. I do not want to miss a thing. Like all my friends, I tend to be on the run, with a busy schedule, trying to fit career, family, and friends into my life. I often complain that time flies. Spending time with my mother taught me the importance of slowing down. I finally understood the meaning of a term that I heard millions of times: quality time. Peggy was right. Dating another woman helped my marriage. It has made me a better husband and father, and hopefully a better son as well. Thank you, Mom.